In a largely male-dominated cultural society that is easily reflected in the people's representation in Parliament, Papua New Guinea has had difficulties dealing with the issue of gender-based violence. Speaking on the occasion of National Women's Day this year and in addressing GBV issues in NCD, Governor Powes Pakop stressed the seriousness of the issue.
And while we are inundated by the COVID-19 pandemic, it's important that we continue to address the status of women in our country, because this is a major human rights and development issue. The extent of disparity, inequality, disempowerment, injustice that continue to be faced by women and girls of our country is still very, very high and very, very wide in terms of parity between the genders.
And in the National Capital District, in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Pakop said according to statistics, the issue is escalating. NCDC, in collaboration with Port Moresby Chamber of Commerce and Industry and UN Women, launched the establishment of a legal help desk on the occasion to help women in having their cases prosecuted. The issue has been a crisis in itself, although not recognized by many. Ruth Beriso from the NCDC GBV Secretariat highlighted a few statistics to provide a broader picture of the scale of the issue.
70,000 women in NCD alone are being affected by GBV, and they have reported cases. Only 6% made it through to police and through to the justice system. So,
the latest spate of incidents of rape and abduction in the city include a 15-year-old girl being abducted and allegedly raped in the Hohola area after getting on a PMV bus. Another incident involves a woman in her 20s catching a taxi at Gerehu in trying to go to downtown for church service via Baruni Back Road. She escaped an abduction and rape attempt by the taxi driver by jumping off the taxi and finding help.
We have a lot of cases being reported, but it comes back to, women need to have confidence. They need to feel that they have something to look forward to. They have to feel that support at the back of them, and that's not present at the moment. So,
various organizations have raised concerns following these incidents, questioning the public transport system used in the city. A large group of women initiated a protest march as a result to take a stand and fight against gender-based violence from the Kone Tigers Oval to Parliament House.
I voted for you, Pakop. Where are you?
Prime Minister James Marape and other parliamentary leaders eventually turned up to address the women on GBV issues.
And it needs all our men in our society to really rise up and step up for your country. It's no good if you feel happy that Kumul is playing and you support Kumul or support Justin Olam or support the concept about fighting back to take back more from Pogra and all our resources when you don't have some of the foundational issues right in your setting at home, at community, at suburb, in our villages and in our provinces right throughout our country.
We'll also get permission from the Prime Minister to ensure this happens. So we will start dealing with this on the ground. We have a national GBV, but that's on a national level. On the electorate level, we will set up the Port Moresby Northwest GBV Secretariat, and we will start dealing with these issues.
We are not supposed to be restricted. Currently now we are restricted from moving about freely. It's enshrined in our constitution on our freedom of movement. We have a transport system here that's one of the most transport systems in the world. And I've raised this in government caucus. If NCD can't and Road Transport Authority can't manage this bus service in the city, you give it to the provincial government and we will show you how to run it.
Some things were promised by the Prime Minister to help address the situation in NCD, including the CCTV initiative that, although has been part of plans, has not effectively been implemented in the city, and the establishment of family and sexual violence unit counters at every suburb police stations around the city. As part of providing solutions or at least guide those victims of GBV or generally women and girls in public, churches have been seen as a vital player. A women's conference called the King's Daughters Conference was held at Reverend Sione Kami Memorial Church recently to empower women in identifying and living their true purpose in God from a spiritual perspective.
My session was about spiritual maturity, knowing your place in the Lord. And when we begin to impart that knowledge to our young daughters and our mothers in the community, in the families, they will begin to give guidance, proper guidance, advice to the daughters and sons in the home. And also if mothers are involved in the ministry, that the blessings and the giftings of the ministry is a blessing for the home too. And so when the family, we were talking about families, when the family is right, the community is right, the nation is right.
Betty Messina is a retired pastor's wife with the United Church in Papua New Guinea. She has been an active speaker on women's issues in the church, particularly from the spiritual point of view in light of GBV issues.
The way of our dressing also reveals some half-nakedness. And that also is attributing to the escalating of this immorality that is happening on the land. Genuine dressing, if we are a woman of God, if we are girls in the ministry, our dressing must reflect that you're a child of God, you're a woman of God, you're a woman of substance, you're a woman of prayer. It also involves our dressing, our attitudes and our behaviors in how we react and how we do things. And so when we begin to see things in the communities that we live, open your mouth and speak and address it.
Other women also spoke during the conference, expressing their views about the issues affecting women and girls, particularly in the form of violence, and for women to find their true identity in God.
We have a very strong family and sexual violence unit that's based at National Capital District Administration. And that need to be supported, and that service need to reach out to a lot of women. And we need to have a place where women can go and get counseling. That's not being provided for.
Like our topic for this conference is King's Daughters. So when you look at the word king is somebody that is up there. So when we claim that we are the daughters or Pikinini from king, then we are somebody. We have whatever the king has in his palace. We are Yumigat Olgata right.
On the first night of the conference, a panel of professional women shared some of their experiences of being part of broken family relationships and other difficult experiences as women, but shared their successes in overcoming challenges too, thus inspiring other women in similar situations.
The power to really enter into the blessings of the kingdom is true forgiveness. You know, a lot of times we hold bitterness. Bitterness is what holds or closes the doors of blessing into our lives.
And that was the time that I started getting into very deep prayer. Like I just couldn't see myself coming out of this, so I went into prayer. And I think the turning point for me was towards the back end of last year. So first of all, it wasn't just bad enough that I lost my husband. Soon afterwards, the place where I was working actually got shut down. And so I found myself unemployed for a whole year.
Aside from looking at the victims of GBV, which in many cases has been women and girls, many have raised questions on the motives behind why the perpetrators enforce violence. Family relationship issues, unemployment, cultural barriers, and many other reasons have been identified as some of the main causes of GBV. MTV News spoke to community leaders and unemployed youths at 9 Mile this week to find out. And youth unemployment is a major contributing factor in this area, resulting in youths roaming around aimlessly on the streets and resorting to many forms of criminal activities, some of which involve GBV. On a positive note, the youths have now decided to keep away from being involved in this and do positive things for the community by way of doing volunteer youth work, cleaning up public places, and ensuring movement of women and girls as well as male counterparts is safe.
I'm now Magilo 9 Mile. Now, me established here almost 33 years now. And then now 9 mile ambulance stop too dark. Now people are looking for some people are highway come na place image change. Ye don't is all magi way stop lo backside them. Bible harem was some plenty all news law and this country too. Also put in 9 mile go front line. Now even the mobile squad staff, dog unit staff was like lost. Tram na put him down. All some all criminal activities, even or rascal, or steal, drug, rape. Kaya sa sa come up 9 mile. So time la looking mas this la Sunday come up, change me come. Na police na blow working all some all institution law CIS all like come lo solving the problem but am hard ya.
For the past first half of this year 2021, go back the previous years, the 9 mile community got very high crime rate. Safe all community members, especially all mama, all susa, nor Mary people go about drown. Lately I've been go bagar up over there. So all especially youths, all young mangi community yet, all been stable 9 mile yet, all take ownership volunteer change him community make it a better place.
Providing opportunities for the unemployed and for those in need is an area for the government and relevant authorities to continue to address whilst simultaneously dealing with GBV victims. So whilst the GBV crisis mostly affecting women and girls in NCD is far from over, educating and providing for the men or the perpetrators of violence also calls from the flip side.